back, welcome back, welcome back. Welcome back to What She Said Sports. We are back. I hope everyone had a wonderful couple of days off. I hope you enjoyed the long weekend. And still some pool parties happening that I can hear with that earshot. Um, and I hope y'all had some fun too. I recuperated, rested, got creative, and started watching Major League Baseball. I told y'all I was not playing. I'm like, I will not tolerate bias against black NFL quarterbacks. I said I was gonna find some other sports to watch and did. I was this close to being at a Braves game on was it Friday? Friday or Saturday? I think it might have been Friday or Saturday. But it was standing room only. Now I don't see me standing up for 9 innings. So I was like, maybe next time. But today, of course, they popped up on my feed. I watched the game live. This was like the second game in the series with the Orioles. I have no idea who's who. Don't even matter. I just love sports and I just love the competition that was taking place and don't want to get too invested because I don't want to know just about as much as I know about football. So I even posted I'm auditioning new sports to replace the NFL should they lose their damn mind and cut Shedeur or release him or put him on waivers and not claim him. All right. So as you can see here, I pulled together some comments, right? Some headlines about what's taking place. Now, from what I could see, people are starting to realize that the NFL is playing in Shadeur's face. They also are beginning to realize that the Cleveland Browns are also playing in Shadeur's face. Now, before the couple of days off, before the break, I pointed out, hey, Shedeur go to Canada, I'm going too, right? And Shedeur over the weekend thanked his internet aunties, of which I am part of that crew. Uh, for the love and support, right? That means he hears us. He likely hears, the rallying cries around fairness for him, and that hey, if he goes to Canada, we going too. And some people just don't get it. They're thinking that, oh, if he just works hard, like we didn't see Shador out there with lime green shorts on, working out in the rain. He worked his butt off in college and they denied him, right? And not just him. What's the motto? What's the theme? What's really going on? I've been pointing it out. Cam echoed it. Not that he saw my podcast, but he's a quarterback in the NFL. Who better than to tell you that the NFL is biased against black quarterbacks other than a former NFL quarterback whose career was tampered with, was manipulated. Cam, when it was ready for Cam to leave the Carolina Panthers, and I think he took them to a Super Bowl, he was untradeable. Untradeable. So who better this a quarterback that was burned in the recent era to tell you that the NFL has bias when it comes to black quarterbacks. That's what we're seeing with Shador. That's what we're seeing with Cam. That's what we're seeing with Miro. And guess who's up next? Lenore Sellers. Cleveland has already decided to raise their hand and say, oh, I think we want to draft him next year. I'm like, here we go. Here we go, because what do we know? Cleveland pre-draft extensively with Shador Sanders and dropped him like a hot potato. And who did they scapegoat? Deshaun Watson, who, by the way, has a winning record in Cleveland. Now, Deshaun Watson's contract is not up until the end of 2026. So, is Cleveland going to do the same thing with Lenore Sellers? Pre-draft extensively, let everybody know we're interested in him. And then all of a sudden, they're going to remember in March, 30 days before the draft in 2026, oh, we got Deshaun Watson. We took a big swing and missed. That's exactly what they did to Shador. And now they're talking about getting Lenore Sellers. His daddy should have took the money. This is proof positive. His daddy should have took the money. And if his father is thinking, well, my son might go first then. I'm like, uh-huh. Cam went first. And Cam is also competing for QB1 spot. Knowing that QB1 is inherent when you're drafted in the first round, because what the hell are you drafting a quarterback in the first round for? To compete with the guy who failed last year. That is dysfunctional. And when you look at Milrow, it's supposed to be a project for 2 years. They want to bury him on the depth chart. They don't want to talk about him in the draft. They screw him over at Alabama, just like they did Jalen Hurts. When you put it all together, it's 17 of 32. Cam is right. The NFL is biased against black quarterbacks. And what are they doing? They're using these black players who want to remain relevant, who themselves were discriminated against in the NFL or in college football in the case of Herm Edwards. They fired Herm Edwards on the field. They didn't even wait till the stadium had cleared out. His coaches tried to do the same thing that was done to Coach Prime, gave away all of his plays, gave the playbooks to the opponents so he could lose and get fired. Then they all quit. Then they come down to Herm Edwards on the field and fire him while his feet are still on the field. He was somewhere near the end zone. They couldn't wait to embarrass him. So for Herm Edwards to be the next older black former NFL player who can't seem to bring accountability to the NFL, maybe because they get their retirement, maybe because they still want to be relevant, even though they were discriminated against, or Warren Moon had to go where? Had to go to Canada. Warren Moon went to Canada to escape the same treatment, the same devaluing of his draft stock in his career that Shedeur Sanders is facing right now, that Cam Ward is facing right now, that Jalen Milrow is facing right now. And Warren Moon even went so far as to say, Shedeur don't need to go to Canada. He's good right here. What the hell is he watching? See, a lot of these older players, they struggle, but they think, oh, I made it. Well, that don't mean Shedeur has to struggle, right? Then as you can see in front of you, I have some commentary from different sources. Shout out to What She Said Sports Media Team. They were on it. Even though we had a couple of days off, they were back at it today. I appreciate it. And I decided how I wanted to share it, right? As you can see right here, Browns seem especially bad at picking a good quarterback. Why did I use this? This is for people who keep saying, oh, all Shedeur got to do is stay ready and go out there and ball out. And they going to see he's good. He was good when he left Colorado. It's not enough. When you don't want the majority of starting quarterbacks to be black, there's nothing you can do because your melanin is still there. So I put that one there for people to understand the Browns themselves are problematic when it comes to quarterbacks. We talked about this. 40 quarterbacks took snaps as starters since 1999. That's 25 years. It's a revolving door of quarterbacks. No, that's number one. But then let's look at how they treated the black quarterbacks, the ones that I know of. Deshaun Kaiser, right? They let him go 0 and 15. They watched him week after week after week, and he was a developmental QB that they wanted to make their franchise QB. He was drafted out the second round. Who drafts the franchise QB from the second round? Nobody. That's what the first round is for. And then they threw him to the Wolves knowing he was a developmental QB. And he got worse and worse, and they let him flounder in front of everybody. And the Browns fans seemingly came back to watch it, which made me ask, what the hell are they signing up for? What are they choosing to come and watch week after week in Cleveland? Because they horrible. They trash. So what do you see right here? Browns seem especially bad at picking a good quarterback. What is Shedeur? A good quarterback. They are bad at picking good quarterbacks. So please set him free. Because they are not going to do right by Shedeur because he's a good quarterback. They don't know what to do with a good quarterback. 40 quarterbacks taking snaps as starters tells you that the Cleveland Browns do not know what to do with a quarterback. And for people who have said in the comments that the owner said to start Shedeur, I don't give a damn what he said. He also was a person who pitched Shedeur against Deshaun Watkins by saying, after Cleveland pre-draft extensively with Deshaun Watson, pre-draft extensively with Shedeur Sanders, what did the owner come out and say on or about March 31st? Oh, we took a big swing and missed with Deshaun. Did you? First of all, Deshaun been there since 2022. He has a winning record in Cleveland. And they rotated him with two other black quarterbacks throughout the 2023 season. They amassed a winning record of 7-4 and handed it over to practice squad Joe Flacco, who could not be available due to injury when they needed him most in the very last game. Did they go back to any of those black quarterbacks? No. They went to somebody who hadn't played all year because they did not want to hand the baton to who? Deshaun Watson, who has a winning record. DTR, who they drafted in the 5th round and let start 3 games. Let him play against the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson. And of course he lost because they're not developing quarterbacks in Cleveland. But then the second time Cleveland plays, they put in Deshaun Watson. And guess what? Cleveland wins. So that meant they probably could have beat Baltimore twice. But it was more important to embarrass DTR. And now, thankfully, he's in Philadelphia, no longer in this toxic environment in Cleveland, but his career is probably screwed because the pattern goes, we keep you. We don't develop you. Then we trade you. And that starts the trade cycle. And then you out in 4 years. That's what they did to Deshaun Kaiser. They already said Deshaun Watson has taken his last snap in Cleveland. Why? He showed us he's healthy because they'd rather collect the insurance money and pay somebody else with it other than Shedeur. Maybe Mason Graham, maybe Carson Swessinger. As of now, I don't think Quinshon Judkins has signed his contract. If so, he just signed it. They don't seem to be in a hurry to fix that. Cleveland is awful. Cleveland is toxic. And as you can see, they are bad when it comes to picking good quarterbacks. Shedeur has been saddled with a $4 million contract, which is $36 million undervalued for 4 years. It's best that they let him go. It's also best that nobody picks him up off waivers and he clears it. Then he could go somewhere with a new contract. That's the best case scenario. But then again, Canada has first rights to Shedeur Sanders, just in case the NFL want to continue down this path of bias against black quarterbacks, which they seem happy to do. Because it's not just happening to Shedeur. In Cleveland, the media is in on it. Before we took the break, there was a media personality saying when they saw Shedeur working out, because he was the first quarterback to pop up working out, oh, he's doing this to keep up with his fans. And then Cam Ward popped up working out with his receivers from Tennessee. And somebody was in the comments wanting to know what receivers were out there. None of your damn business. Who are you? What, you gonna go run and tell that they working out? And then we saw who? CJ Stroud and Justin Fields working out together. All 4 of these quarterbacks have something in common other than they melon. They all been screwed over by the NFL. Cam is competing for QB1 even though he first overall. They got Shedeur so far back from QB1, they don't want him to even see what QB1 looks like. He not even on a roster. They threaten to cut him every week. As a fan, I'm like, please do. Please do. Cleveland is not going to do right by Shedeur. Putting out information saying that Andrew Berry is at odds with Kevin Stefanski because Andrew Berry wants Arch Manning and Kevin Stefanski wants Dylan Gabriel. Good. then set Shedeur free. But they better not put him on the practice roster because that's only trying to torture him. So as of now, it is predicted that he's supposed to be cut. For some people that's not keeping up, they think people talking about Shedeur going to Cleveland is just something to talk about because there's not a lot happening. No, that's a real possibility right now. It's not a coincidence the stories are coming out of Cleveland that they are predicted to cut Shedeur. It's not a coincidence that we're hearing Andrew Berry wants to draft either Arch Manning, Lenore Sellers, or Cade from Clemson next year. They're telling you Shedeur is not their future. They're also telling you they didn't want to draft Shedeur. They didn't plan to get Shedeur after they pivoted away after the owner said, what? Oops, we still got Deshaun Watson. They don't have Deshaun Watson next year. So chasing Lenora Sellers is just running back the same cycle with Shedeur Sanders. We gonna let everybody think we interested in you. And then we gonna remember we got Deshaun Watson. Using one black quarterback to pit him against another one. That means they don't have plans for Dillon either. It's chaotic in Cleveland. I don't have a problem when I hear he could be in Canada because I'm gonna be in Canada too. They're watching baseball today. I'm getting ready. Can they put him on waivers? Yes, they got 24 hours to claim him. Didn't they say he was gonna be put on waivers? When they sent out his phone number to 2,000 people in the email with his phone number, what was attached to the email? A waiver wire. He wasn't on the draft board. A waiver wire was attached to his name. So how the hell did Cleveland get him? Because he was always gonna go there. Their roster was always gonna be too full. They was gonna hold on to him. They was gonna play this game, and then they was gonna cut it. So what you're seeing is scripted. That's why we're all on board if Canada is it. Because guess what? Canada already has the rights to Shedeur. I'm down with it. I definitely don't want to see them playing with Shedeur like they played with Deshaun Kaiser or Deshaun Watson or PJ Walker or DTR. Hell no. Set Shedeur free. Y'all don't want to see that either. You're going to be beside yourself because you know he's too damn good for that. See, people thought when the draft was over, he escaped. No. This is all a script. Wherever he went, after they took him off the board, was handpicked. Because Cleveland is dysfunctional when it comes to quarterbacks, so he would have no chance. They would definitely hold him back. Mike Tomlin didn't even hold back Russell Wilson when he came from Denver, so they wasn't going to let Shedeur go there unless Aaron Rodgers went there first, and he said he wasn't going there if they got Shedeur. So what did they do? Intimidated Mike Tomlin into not drafting Shedeur. This is about holding back black quarterbacks from the QB1 position. This is about bias against black quarterbacks. That is not new. This is a long-held bias against black quarterbacks. And as Cam pointed out, Cam Newton, white quarterbacks are becoming a minority when it comes to starting positions. I'm going to say it one more time. White quarterbacks are becoming the minority when it comes to the starting QB1 position in the NFL. Black quarterbacks as QB1s are knocking on the door. And guess who's number 17? Shedeur. That's why he getting it the worst. They think they have Miro handled just like they did in Alabama because they know he's not going to say nothing. What Milroe is going through being buried, being the scapegoat, being not talked about is better than him being trashed like he was at Alabama. And Cam, he giving them the fits down there. So much so that they spinning a negative narrative about him. They don't want him to be QB1. So they got to attack his personality just like they did Shedeur. Because they still have Will Levis, and that's who they want to work out. They don't care that Will Levis failed already. Will Levis is white. If you take Will Levis out the equation, then it's just Shedeur and Milroe at 17 or 18. They only one away if they bench Cam for whatever reason. This is about protecting whiteness at the quarterback starting position, the most important position on the team. Cleveland is not going to let Shedeur start enough games till he is named the starter. You have to be the starter for the majority of the season. And for people saying the owner said he's going to start Shedeur, I researched that. That is not true. The owner has not said anything. And remember, the owner pays the salaries of Stefanski, who they just signed to a new contract, and possibly even Andrew Berry. They don't pay themselves. The owner's on board with everything that's happening with Shedeur, even including when what? Mary Cabot was harassing the hell out of him with her microaggressions. Then people started using that word and they moved her out the way and put Daniel Foussey out there. You think it's a coincidence Daniel Foussey has melanin? No. Because it looked like exactly what it looks like. And they don't want it to look like bias in Cleveland, but that's what it is. Andrew Berry is just playing the part. If he was white, you could see it. I don't know why people think the owner of the Browns rescued Shedeur. No, he didn't. He actually set him up for the okie doke. He actually showed mad interest in him and cut him loose like he was a bad Tinder date. The Tinder swindler. Just setting people up, exploiting them, using them, and dropping them like a bad habit. So no, the owner is not saying to start Shedeur anywhere. Most people don't even think Shedeur gonna make it to camp. And it's probably true. Because this was never the plan. Why do you think they look so sour faced at the draft? Because they thought they had cut bait with Shedeur already. When the owner, and why do you think it was the owner that made the comment? We took a big swing and missed with Deshaun. Why do you think it was the owner? Because that's who the decision rests with. What you think, Jerry Jones is the only owner that has some say so on his team? So it says it. The Browns are predicted to cut ways with Shedeur. That's where Canada is coming in at. They have first rights to Shedeur Sanders should he decide to go north. And there are a lot of fans like myself that are happy to see it. Because it's obvious the NFL don't want to do right by Shedeur. It's obvious the NFL is in the exact same position and believes exactly what they said when what? Before the combine. Before they started defaming Shedeur. Before they said any one thing negative about him publicly, what did the NFL insider tell Mel Kiper Jr.? Before the combine, somewhere on or about February 20th, likely before, because it's the day that the podcast was released. Mel Kiper Jr. said the NFL does not want quarterbacks, plural, like Shedeur Sanders. And they sure treat him like it, aren't they? Cam, too, and Milroe. Quarterbacks, plural, the three of them. And now Cleveland's saying Lenore sell his name. His father should have took the money. Yeah, Cam getting paid, but they ain't making his life easy. But he's snarky enough to give him hell. And Milroe being quiet. Because he know what time it is. He already signed his contract. He just got to wait till that door open. But see, the difference is nobody's bearing down and bullying Milroe. They are with Shedeur. They getting started with Cam by putting out negative stories about him. But they've been going in on Shedeur. That's too much for one person. It's not worth it. It's definitely not worth it. When you see they're not going to do right by him, his contract is only $4 million. Cut him loose. Let him go to Canada. You know Warren Moon is a Hall of Famer in Canada too, and came back to the NFL and kicked ass. He's in two Hall of Fames. The NFL is not the end all to be all. And people keep saying, "Oh, I want the money." It's not guaranteed. There are still 39 rookies, 40 holding out 30 in the second round. For everybody wanting to get here. Are you not paying attention as to what's happening with three black quarterbacks, the most important position on the team? Did you not pay attention and see Travis had to go fishing with Coach Prime to get his guaranteed money? Oh, I'm sorry, to get his signing bonus. Nobody said it was guaranteed because what, 6 years after they gave it to Michael Vick, they came back for it. So I don't know what they drunk off of. But yes, it's better for Shedeur to either go to Cleveland or get claimed clear waivers. Because if he clears waivers, he can get a new contract. And that's what he deserves. And he damn sure don't deserve to be in chaotic Cleveland, where they don't know what to do with a quarterback that's good. They like the ones that are not good. They like to lose. And their fans clearly don't care either. That's too toxic of an environment for an intellectual to be in. You have to be stupid to exist in an environment that's that chaotic. DTR escaped Cleveland after for 2 years they wasted his time. I don't want to see Shedeur exist in Cleveland for 2 years under a $4 million contract. Let him go to Canada. And when the NFL get over himself, like Warren Moon, he'll be back. If his father had started his own league by now, that's what I'm hoping and praying for. A black owned, black led league so these players could go ball out and focus on competition and not worry about being forced into submission. So it says it right here. Fans demand the dismissal of Kevin Stefanski and general manager Andrew Berry from the Browns if they part ways with Shedeur or Dillon. No disrespect to Dillon, but if he want to stay there, cool. Just let Shedeur go. Shedeur is too damn good to have a $4 million contract in a chaotic environment. This is exactly why Warren Moon went to Canada. And he should know better than to say that Shedeur was in the right place, because it wasn't the right place for him. It's only the right place if they know he gonna clear waivers and get a new contract. And that's what really should happen to make up for all of this. He should clear waivers, get picked up by somebody like Jacksonville, and get a $330 million contract. But that probably ain't gonna happen. So you tell me a better scenario, because him wasting away for 2 years, and then it starts the trade and cut cycle, and in 4 years he gone and didn't do shit while he was here because they didn't let him, and then they make a mockery of his legacy. You tell me a better solution, because I'm all for some organized paraphernalia. I'm all for him to clear waivers or go to Jacksonville or hell somewhere else. The Saints starting to realize they made a mistake with Tyler Shaw. You don't think they knew that? They didn't care. Shedeur does not deserve to be in any goddamn league for $4 million for 4 years. He's too damn good, and if they don't appreciate him, then his talent needs to be elsewhere until they do. But as long as black quarterbacks are knocking at the door and becoming the majority of the starters, and white quarterbacks are becoming the minority, you're going to see manipulation, even coming out of college like they did Milroe. If Milroe would have came out of college as is without them manipulating him, trying to make him look like trash, all the while he got damn near the identical, what is it called, QBR. His QBR was so close to Jackson Dart. If you weren't smart enough to go read it for yourself, you would have thought they were wide apart. No, they did that. So Milroe was not the first quarterback to come out of the SEC and be the third black quarterback in the first round. They trashed him in college so he could be outside the first round. Did you hear anybody say Milroe can sneak into the first round? There were mock drafts that had Milroe in the first round. That would be three black quarterbacks I'd have to try to hold back from an inherent QB1 position. Shedeur 17, Milroe 18. That's plus one over the majority. So you're not going to hear me sing the song to stay in Cleveland. No, Cleveland is toxic as hell. And they like it that way. And nobody will hold them accountable, not even the fans. Because their first game, every preseason game should be empty. The first game against Cincinnati in Cleveland, empty. Every game they play this year, empty. Until the Cleveland Browns ownership learned, like the Carolina Panthers ownerships, these tickets can go down to 45 cents and we're still not coming. It shouldn't even take for Dylan and Shedeur to get let go. They should have been there already. Deshaun should have been enough. 0-15, and you still showing up. So what the hell are you coming for? To watch somebody be made a mockery of? To watch a black player be humiliated? Is that why you showing up? That might explain. But see, now they starting to feel it because the team want to move out the city and take the name with it. See, some people not happy till shit start happening to them. And that's what's happening in Cleveland. So yeah, maybe they're mad now. I don't care. I want our guy out of there. He better off away from the NFL and away from that $4 million contract until they recognize his value. I watched Major League Baseball today. It was a show, a lot of empty seats. And they still managed to pay one player $700 million fully guaranteed. So for those who are confused about the conversation about Canada, it's a reality. And I'm happy that Canada has already claimed rights to Shedeur. It should make the NFL think twice. They don't care. It's more important to have white quarterbacks start and be the majority than it is for black quarterbacks. So they willing to let one or two go. If I can successfully bury Miro and don't nobody complain, and then I can go ahead and make Cam compete and find a way to spin it so I don't let him play enough games that he plays the majority of the season, I have succeeded. But there's one quarterback I can't hide. He too damn good, and he got 3 million fans. They can't hide Shedeur at the end of the depth chart. That's what they was trying to do. Then they start hearing everybody say, he the best one you have. Not who they want to cut. The best quarterback they have. I don't give a damn. If they cut him, that's for Cleveland. That's their fight. I just want my guy out of that toxic environment. And I know our voices are loud because Shedeur showed love to his internet aunties, which means he hear us. I don't give a shit what Cleveland do. Long as Shedeur is somewhere where he's appreciated, respected, and they know talent and they want to win. Some people say that Philadelphia was going to try and get him. Ooh, I would have liked to have seen it. I wouldn't have wanted Jalen Hurts and Shedeur on the same squad because that's stacking good quarterback talent. But hell, that's better than Cleveland. So I know DTR is thinking his lucky stars. Now, where he should go, common sense says make the wrong right and send him to New Orleans as QB1. But I have no hope and faith in the Saints unless somebody show up and threaten them. Because that's how he got drafted. And they picked him to go to Cleveland. It was not a coincidence. The owner was not looking favorably upon Shedeur. No. They were doing what they were told. They had already been called out. So I put this here so people, we can have some clarity here. So we can all be on the same page that Canada is a reality. Cleveland is not going to do right by Shedeur. Nobody is coming to make him QB1 until after they cut him, and then somebody else going to have to get it, but it's going to have to be for a new contract because Shedeur should not be on anybody's team for the next 4 years for $4 million. The wrong needs to be made right. He does not need to be passed around like the person that the NFL gave him a QB comp of, Geno Smith, because that's what they did to Geno Smith. That is not Shedeur Sanders' QB comp. Shedeur Sanders is a mashup of Jaden Daniels, and they know it. They know any team he goes QB1 on, he gonna take them somewhere. And then that sets a trend with these black quarterbacks coming in and starting every year, and they don't want that. They willing to push talent aside for preference. So there's nothing Shedeur could do. This on God. That's who I'm waiting on to see what God gonna do. Not upset if Cleveland cuts Shedeur. I'm not upset if don't nobody claim him off waivers because he gets to get a new contract. And that's what he is owed. And I said he gonna get his money. And for people that want to know why you think he gonna get his money, I got two words for you: Deshaun Watson. That's how I know he gonna get his money. Hell, even Colin Kaepernick sued and got paid like he was supposed to, but they blackballed him. That's how Shedeur know that that's not the route to take right now. That's the route to take when you don't ever want to play in the league. He gonna get his money, but it's gonna be after he clear waivers or go to Canada first. And I'm fine with that because he deserves better. Cleveland want to be toxic, let him, but not with our guy. Anybody that refers to themselves as God's child and people still trying to take you down, they evil, bro. They don't want to win. They know they can win with Shedeur. And that tells you they pre-drafted him extensively to set him up. Because they always knew the owner was going to come out and say on or about March 31st. Oh, we still got Deshaun Watson. You can have it next year too. So why are you talking about Lenore Sellers, Arch Manning, Arcade? But it's probably not going to be a problem next year. Especially if it's Arch Manning Arcade. And we know it's not Arch Manning. They like to hear themselves talk. But it wouldn't surprise me if it's Lenore Sellers. And they run the same race and play the same game only to devalue him in the draft. Oh, we still got Deshaun Watson. We could make it work. And then pay a defensive tackle QB money. I don't give a damn what Cleveland do. I give a damn what they do to Shedeur. So let me see what y'all saying. Now that I've explained all the commentary on the screen. Hey everybody. Hey Amber. Welcome back. Welcome back. Echo, what's up, fam? Val C, good evening, good evening. Robert Washington, thank you for joining us. Good evening, good evening. Bumpy, nice to see you back, Robert. Thanks for coming back. Said Cleveland is the graveyard for QB. Yes. They don't. They just want to ruin people. I don't even understand how they can be allowed to be so negligent. What they did to Deshaun Kaiser, bro. I would love to interview his parents. I would just love to ask them what were they thinking, week in and week out, as they watch their son be thrown to the wolves and go 0-15. Did you see the documentary about the evolution of black quarterbacks? Yes, I did. Yes, I did. It really mirrors what's going on with Shedeur and the other black players. Yeah. And I was so proud to hear Cam Newton say it out loud because he's not too far removed. He's a quarterback, a black quarterback that's not too far removed. Saying that black quarterbacks are biased, but who are they using? They're using the old forgotten quarterbacks who want to remain relevant, who were discriminated against when they were here. War Moon had to go to Canada and gonna come out and say, no, Shedeur shouldn't go to Canada. The NFL is the right place for him. It wasn't the right place for you. So why the hell is it the right place for him? Herm Edwards. I said it when Coach Prime was in year one at Colorado. Oh, they trying to Herm Edwards Coach Prime. Meaning giving away his plays so he could lose to everybody. But they got a little help from some people that had on uniforms too. And we had to watch Shedeur get hurt. I'm not gonna watch that no more. That was painful. I don't even know how Coach Prime survived that. Seeing Shedeur get pummeled like that. And then Cleveland want to blame Shedeur, but then they pre-drafted him extensively. But then suddenly they remembered on draft night that his skill set was retro style and not modern. But then they drafted Jackson Dart, and he the same skill set as Shedeur. And you're not gonna convince me Jackson Dart is more athletic than Shedeur. Shedeur ran for his life and still was the most accurate QB. Cleveland just don't want Shedeur. So I don't need to sit up and listen to the media, Mary Cabot, anybody else, Stefanski, the GM, the owner, or any goddamn body else devalue Shedeur. If you do not want him, let him go. That's what you do. And the NFL can release him too so he can get from under that damn poultry ass $4 million insulting ass contract. He is worth way more money. And they know it. They don't mind devaluing these black players and these black quarterbacks. They showed you what they thought of Travis. And they try to try Travis out and make him the face of the league, but they wasn't gonna even fix his damn contract. He had to go fishing with Coach Prime first. It really don't matter. If you a black NFL player, they don't respect you. And they showed you that with Travis. They only used Travis and drafted him in the number 2 spot that Shedeur was supposed to be drafted to and gave Shedeur Travis's jersey number. We want you to be more like him. Now we all know Travis is lacking a little something. And we praise Coach Prime after that OSU game for the way he raised his sons. But see, that's what they want you to be. Submissive and don't have no damn identity and it's wrapped up in another individual. And they want you to have it wrapped up in NFL. So when they cut you, you don't know which way is up. No. I'm proud of Jalen Hurts for writing his children's book, getting his master's. That's what they all should do. The NFL is not for long. 4 years. That's what you need to plan on. The length of your first contract. And get the hell out. And if you choose to stay for that second contract for another 5 years, you better make sure you bank and save every goddamn dime after you pay your taxes. Because by the time you leave somewhere where you had to be forced into submission for 8 or 9 or 10 years, you will not know who you are. And that is one of these things that plagues these players when they leave the NFL. This is all I know. That's why they don't want players like Shedeur. Because he know exactly who he is. Kudos to his father, who went on to have a successful life after NFL. They don't want that. So let him go. Watching what the hell ever Shedeur play. If he want to go play pickleball for a season, I'm watching that. If he want to start a 7-on-7 team, I'm watching that. And I'm turning the TV off where the NFL is concerned. There's no reason for me to watch anything because everybody else, you just wait to see if they make the squad. Then you gonna have to wait and see if they're gonna get paid. Because now they sliding in a clause that what? Voids future guarantees. I'm sick of this shit, bro. Either you gonna get these players guaranteed contracts or you not. It's just being jerked around. And it don't matter who you are. That's what this draft proves. That's what this whole rookies holding out proves. It doesn't matter who you are. Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter. We gonna do you the same. And so it keeps the NFL from talking about Shedeur. They want to talk about uh, Travis, right? When they play against Kansas City to distract you from the fact that it's 40 rookies who haven't signed their contracts. Cleveland trying to cut Shedeur. It's funny how they think people are stupid. So just because you don't talk about Shedeur, you think we not gonna talk about Shedeur because they want to control the narrative. They're so used to controlling the narrative, but they act like they don't know social media exists. For a reporter in Cleveland, a journalist or a talking head to say that Shedeur is working out on camera to keep up with his fans and how, he guess that's how it goes on social media. What? Then they all pop up on camera because that's what they all do. What do these people do in their free time? Social media did not come out last year. YouTube been out since 2006, 2009. That's not the type of environment somebody who is labeled as cerebral and intellect has high football IQ. That's not an environment for somebody like that. Because they only gonna spend every single waking minute around him or using the airwaves to try to dumb him down to their level. No. Cut it. I'm gonna watch whatever he do. If he wanna go out there and start playing football team, I'm gonna be watching and supporting that too. It don't matter what Shedeur does, it's going to turn to gold just like his father. And they know that. They know they can make billions with Shedeur. They don't want that. Because he's a black quarterback. It is too many of them. So yeah, I started Val C. Robert said, yeah, it is. It's very informative. Amber said Cleveland may do the same thing to whoever they draft in the first round next year. Lenore Sellers, because his name done made their way across their lips, and I'm sure it delights his father, who clearly is not paying attention to anything. They are insecure about about their shortcomings at this point. Their only goal is to draft and destroy. That is it. That is it. It says, please let me know who are who are these clutch QBs running to play for the nobody? Nobody. Cleveland is one of those teams that when they hear they going there, they just gonna try to make the best of it mentally and think that they can put the team on their back. The team don't want to be successful. I don't know how many more quarterbacks got to run through there. It's already been 40. 40 quarterbacks taking snaps as starter in 25 years. And people expecting them to do right by Shedeur. Somebody gonna have to, Jesus, gonna have to come down here and show up in Jesus form, not human form, because they ain't gonna respect that. And say, look here, I need you to do right. Going for, they not gonna do it. It's been too long. They are comfortable the way they are. These people got a new stadium and they are trash. That's why they won't do right. There's no consequences. There's no consequences. Warren Moon has flashbacks. I bet he does. Robert said he got flashbacks. Yeah, cause that's crazy. I'm like, you do know we know why you went to Canada, right? It said that is intentional to draft and destroy. That's it. That's it. Draft and destroy. Cleveland seems to be the team, and I've heard people say that. It's like a receptacle for quarterbacks. Deshaun Watson got intentionally sent to Cleveland after he got his $230 million contract. That's what? Fully guaranteed. They was willing to go to war with other quarterbacks over this and ended up with a collusion case that they trying to spin. We don't even care no more. All that collusion case and that document showed us was what? Oh, the players have no recourse when it comes to the Players Association. So they absolutely, if you in the league, you absolutely have to use arbitration. And you see how that works. Kyler Murray was part of that arbitration, right? Part of that collusion case. Guess what he got saddled with after they gave him his $230 million contract? Same amount of money, but no guarantees. But guess what they did do to him? They saddled him when he got to study for a few hours every day. It's going to always be something. Y'all saw what happened to Russ. And you know exactly what happened to Lamar Jackson. They was not giving him MVP. And they still not. It said, let them tell it. Dak is developmental as well and is the highest paid QB. And that's the crazy part, right? So we all know Jerry Jones was looking at Shedeur, right? We know the whole Nebraska the setup where it was horrible. And the next day, what? We even looked at the date. He signs that, right? So we see where Shedeur in New Orleans Super Bowl weekend talking to Jerry, and Jerry's, in my opinion, kind of pushing him off and saying, yeah, we're gonna have to do a lot of trading. We're gonna have to do a lot of trading. Y'all know Jerry Jones wanted to get Shedeur. He didn't even get Shedeur for $4 million. Nobody could get Shedeur. Collusion. We already know it was collusion. That just further proves it. Tom Brady, that's his mentor. The NFL refuses to admit that Shedeur is the same quarterback and learn from Tom Brady and has the same skills. They refuse to admit he extends plays like Pat Mahomes. They refuse to admit he is likely going to be just as successful as Jaden Daniels. Tom Brady, Pat Mahomes, and Jaden Daniels, and you have him not even on the roster. And you only paying him $4 million. None of it's guaranteed. Let him go. That's an abomination for somebody to be that damn good. But guess what? So is Milrow. Milrow runs a 4.37 since they want to talk about speed. And his QB comps, everybody know he got an arm on him. His QB comps are Lamar Jackson and Michael Vick. But the NFL want to bench him for 2 years talking about he's a project. He's not a project. They don't want him to get out there and ball out. They don't want Shedeur to get out there and ball out. They don't even want Cam to get out there and ball out. Three black quarterbacks. And they already manipulating the numbers coming out of college. Lenora Sellers is the only one they'll let into the top five. Anybody outside the top 15, I don't know where the hell they're going because it was only 13 quarterbacks drafted this year. With Quinn Ewers being the last. You know, Sarkisian could have benched Quinn Ewers for Arch Manning, right? Did he? No. As much as they tried and forced his hand, he said no. And what did they do to Quinn Ewers? He got drafted number 13. At least he got to go to Miami. They sent Shedeur to hell, and they know it. Great QB. It said BJ Riggs is sickening at this point. Yep, I want Shedeur out of there. And I'm like, look, y'all don't want to pay the man. You steadily bullying him. You trying to break him down and dumb him down. You saying he ain't good. Then let him go. The worst thing they can do is say we keeping him and putting him on the practice squad. I don't think they're gonna do that. I don't think they're gonna do that because to keep Shador on the practice squad, they know that's gonna bring all sorts of kind of heat they way. So they think they smart. We just gonna cut him. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus, because that's how they look at it. They think they embarrassing him by cutting him. They think they're embarrassing him by putting it out publicly that Andrew Berry wants Arch Manning that the hell now that is not happening. And then that Stefanski wants Dylan. Poor Dylan. I wish him well. Cleveland doesn't know what they're doing. Right. They don't know what they're doing, Amber. They think they hurting Shador by cutting him because they'd rather cut him than to keep him because they know 3.5 million fans are showing up. And a lot of us are also NFL fans. I'm threatening. I'm auditioning new sports. It's a lot of empty seats at the Braves game. Somebody must have knew how I felt. They, you know how your phone, if you looking for something, I must have been looking up the Braves schedule. The next thing you know, I'm getting all kind of ads for Braves hats. Like, oh, this one cute. So I'm telling you right now, I'm already thinking of making a trailer, and I'm gonna put Raja Caruth when he spun out in his NASCAR Hendricks truck, cause he in the truck series, and yeah, yeah, cause see, this is foolishness. The NFL already been down this road. And they want to go back down this road because why? 2025 is the rise of the black starting quarterback. Not the black quarterback, black starting quarterback. And Cam said it better than I ever could because why? He was a quarterback. He knows. He said it. The NFL is biased against black quarterbacks. Thank you, Cam. But they relying on these old heads to tell the truth and they refuse to, and that's why they're not relevant no more. See, young people have Google. Google didn't exist during Warren Moon's time, so people could look up why he really was going. But hell is out there now. The true story is out there. You know what people are really saying? They can't wait for 20 years to pass by so we can find out what really happened to Shedeur in the draft. They took him off the board. There's no need to wait. You want to know why? The NFL has an ugly, racist, discriminatory history with black quarterbacks because they look at the quarterback as the most important position on the team. And I told you the moment that black quarterbacks kicked that door in as starters, they were going to start talking about other positions. Wide receiver, Travis Hunter. When you see them putting out all these highlights, it's wide receivers because they don't want to show you. And I think they can't stand to see it themselves. Week after week, all these games with black quarterbacks. That's why it's black quarterbacks are stacked up behind each other on the same team. That's why these pairings exist. If they thought they could get Shedeur and put him behind Cam, they would do it. They would do it. But see, Shedeur is good. And then what they gonna do with Will Levis? See, they don't want to let him go. So they're limited in their options as to what they're gonna do, but they're gonna have to manufacture some negativity about Cam, and they have already started. Callahan, the coach, talking about, yeah, I never had a quarterback that talks when I'm talking. Now that just made him seem difficult. I don't even know why we even had to know any of that. And all the media did was laugh. I was like, here we go. The same thing they did to Shedeur at the combine. People have called out Tennessee for being dysfunctional and keeping Will Levis. You heard them say anything about that? No, they'd rather go in on Cam so they can set up and already give you a justification as to why he ain't gonna play the majority of the games. Thank you, Robert. Thank you. Yeah, it's jealousy. It's like the NFL itself cannot stand the thoughts of starting quarterbacks that are white being the fewest, being the minority. It's like they can't stand it. That's why it was so extreme what happened to Shedeur. And they've been trying to stop him along the way. It's crazy how they said Shedeur's skill set is outdated, right? And Mel Kiper Jr. said, you got a lot of quarterbacks like Shedeur running around. He was talking about pocket passes. A lot of them are white. They hate on the dual threat. But when it comes to Shedeur, oh, he not a true dual threat. Anything to discount Shedeur. Let it go. When I posted on X and I said, dear God, I pray you give Shedeur the strength to walk and to live and move accordingly to your will. I was serious. I don't want, because this has been a dream of his, and y'all know, and that's why they trying to hurt him like that. They feel like they playing keep away with something that he really wants. So let me see how bad you want it. Next, he gonna be dating who? Right. They trying to break it down. People are already starting to see it. Even while Lay pointed it out, he is different because that's what they want. Well, since you want this, I'm gonna need you to be what I want you to be first. Man, it's not worth it. It's not worth it because that's the kind of thing that make you end up on rugs when you realize you sold your soul and they played you anyway. That's why I hope Shadua learns his black NFL quarterback history. Please go all the way back to the Denver Broncos with Marlon Briscoe. Because that's exactly what they doing to Shadua. We know you're good. We just don't want you to be our quarterback. That's what they told him. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah. This ain't what we want. That's where we at again. That's why I'm out. If they release him, put him on waivers for 24 hours, and he clears waiver and he don't get a new contract and a new team, I'm out. Not a coincidence. Major League Baseball popped up on my TV. I didn't have a problem watching it. When I was a cheerleader, I came along. They was making us cheer for everything. They split us up. We had to go to cheer at soccer games. They had us at swim meets. Honestly, they sent three of us to swim meets, three of us to soccer teams, basketball. I don't give a shit. That's why I like all sports. And I will go watch something else. I will not. I will not. I will not spend my time on the NFL because they have made it obvious that they don't want the majority of the starting quarterbacks to be black. They are messing with these guys' lives. They're crushing their dreams intentionally. They're running it back to the Marlon Briscoe, Doug Williams era. I don't need to see nothing else after this. I'm gonna go watch whatever he does. If he just go work out for the next year and post it, I'm gonna watch it. Cause I know he gonna end up somewhere where he's appreciated. So they have options. But Cleveland ain't it. So I don't want y'all getting y'all hopes up. And the worst thing they could do is keep him on the practice squad. But I don't think they're gonna do that. Because they can't withstand the pressure. It's one big headache. Yup, Priscilla, it is. It's a huge headache. Shut the NFL down. Yeah, that's up to the fans. And again, I ain't sure what the hell Cleveland fans went to watch when they watched Deshaun Kaiser go down 0-15. I'm like, okay, so this is telling me why the NFL still operates this way because there are too many fans that they clearly must take pleasure in it. Because what the hell would you go to a stadium for 0-15 in the cold to watch this? That damn stadium should have been empty. See, the Carolina Panthers fans got it right. Their tickets went down to 45 cents. And they were like, we are not, and nobody went. Not a lot of people went. There's probably pictures. It was some people out there, but it was obvious. And that was more than once. The Carolina Panthers fans stood 10 toes down. We are not dealing with this. Now it's Cleveland turn. They say some fans mad. I don't know who fans they talking about. I didn't say nothing about Dylan, so they must be talking about Cleveland fans. Dylan seems to be happy to be anywhere. So he don't care. He feel like they're choosing him. And I'm like, they playing in your face because you brown. But go ahead on with your thoughts. But, whatever. I don't care what they do. As long as they stop trying to bully Shedeur, stop trying to dumb him down, force him into submission to give him nothing, to throw him breadcrumbs. Yeah, no, this is not incompetence. Yeah, Priscilla is right. This is not incompetence. This is intentional. This is intentional. Look at who they're doing it to. Look at the positions that they play. They could be a revolving door for tight ends. Is it? No. Is it a revolving door for kickers? No. Is it a revolving door for wide receivers? No. It is a revolving door for quarterbacks, and they keep sending the black ones there, and don't nothing happen but BS. And that starts the trade and cut. So that's how I get you out in 4 years. Deshaun Kaiser was 4 years flat. And they did the same thing to Vince Young. And people were like, the owner gave him his phone number. Yeah, it must be to play in his face. Because he clearly let Jeff Fisher neglect the young man. And did the owner stop it? No. So don't tell me nothing about the owner of the Browns. They in on this too. They are in on this. I don't care to hear nothing about the Browns as it pertains to Shedeur. Is you gonna let it go? It's 18 days to training camp. They think they hurting him by putting these negative stories about other people being a quarterback of their future. Do it. Yeah, they need to be held accountable. But I don't know who it's gonna be, and I think that's the point of this. I think the fact that I told y'all it's not a coincidence that Shador ended up in the same city with Deshaun. Why? Because it's exposing that Cleveland is a dumping ground for players they want to trash. For players they want to waste their time for 2 years. How long before DTR is out the league? 2 years in Cleveland, he finna be behind Jalen Hurts. That's three. Then if he get moved somewhere else, that's four. That's gonna be it. And you know what they're gonna tell him? Oh, well, he just didn't materialize. They playing with these guys because if they don't draft the black quarterbacks they think either gonna end up somewhere else or they gonna get together and start their own league. These guys getting seduced and played to coming into the league and getting nothing. But if you look at it, nobody else's careers are being done this way. And Cleveland is the team. The Saints next. I didn't even know Spencer Rattler was over there. Did y'all know Spencer Rattler was over there? He just did an interview recently, and I was like, wait a minute, he in New Orleans? You would have thought Derek Carr was up there by himself, and when he left, they had absolutely nobody. Because I told y'all they went and got a JUCO champ after he got kicked out of the Big 12 for gambling. That's who they went and got. And then they got Tyler Shaw. And the players like, can we please get Jameis Winston from New York? If y'all think Cleveland bad, New Orleans so bad, they can't even come up with a plan. It's just a mess. That's why anything that pop up in my view by New Orleans, I hit unsubscribe or I'm not interested. That is a mess. And now Tyler Shaw is amongst the 30 players in the second round holding out for a guaranteed contract. Now imagine them drafting you because I don't want Milrow. And I'm thinking I'm gonna get you and make you feel special, and then you turn around and hold out on me. Well, wait a minute. You know you're not good. I just drafted you so I don't get Milrow. And now you want a guaranteed contract. We're gonna see who's gonna win this fight. That ought to tell you everything you need to know. Clearly, he wasn't valued. He was blocking. I told y'all they put people in other people's places to keep them off the stage. That's what happened to Shedeur at Colorado. They wanted to keep him off the Heisman stage. Yes, the NFL knows we're gonna talk about Travis in the NFL. Yes, they know we're gonna talk about Shedeur. But guess what? We're gonna do it anyway. And that's why he probably ain't gonna be here. We gonna talk about Shadua if he on the practice squad, and they know all hell gonna break loose if that happened. So they gonna cut it. All of these stories about the predictions of Shadua getting cut, they done sat out. They already know. They don't want the dynamic duo taking over the NFL. They want to talk about Travis the way they want to talk about Travis. So they had Travis and the Jacksonville Jaguars to go out to the Bahamas and work out, right? But when Shador was working out, because he was doing it, that's what he always do, first of all. But then when he was working out on his own, oh, he just doing it for his fans. So it's okay for the Jaguars to send Travis and Trevor out there. It really was just the wide receiver core and the quarterback. It's okay for that. It's okay because that's what the NFL wants. But Shador can't use his own brain and go do something he's always done. And then we have Cam doing what he's always done. And they were in the same city. And I asked the question, do y'all think they're going to link up and work out like they used to? And most people said no for various reasons. One reason was because play calling, secrets, maybe. I don't even know if they learned no plays. But yeah, okay, I get it. And another one would be probably because it would cause some kind of friction. They were both in Miami working out with their same quarterback coach separately. Cam was working out with his receivers. I didn't hear about no receivers from Cleveland. I told y'all I ain't see nobody. I ain't see a whole lot of people letting it be known that they support Shador. Now a story saying, well, the veterans want somebody else to start. They want Flacco to start. I'm like, did we really think Shador was gonna start? They just putting these stories out here to try to make Shador seem like he's not good. They're devaluing him whenever they do that. How is it the NFL could pay for the Jaguars to go do it, but when Shador do it, it's so he could keep up with his fans? I thought they had a problem with social media and people recording. Or is it just black quarterbacks because you don't want people to see all of these black quarterbacks? So you let the wide receiver go in Trevor. No, Cleveland is not incompetent. It's intentional. If the CFL gets Shador, he could do the same for football that Wayne Gretzky did for hockey in America. I will follow him. I'm following him too. Hell, I told y'all it was 3 black players drafted into the hockey league. It's 10. 10. So y'all know I'm gonna be paying attention. 3 up on the same team. There are 10 black players drafted into the National Hockey League. To me, that's guys saying, "Come watch this." Forget that. That's what it said to me. See, I know it's gonna be people to be like, "Well, you know, they had their own problems." Right? It's not the mistake you make; it's what you do after you make the mistake. If the NFL want to find a way to push Shador on waivers and clear him off of waivers and give him his contract and make the shit right, then I'm good. But if they want to put him on waivers and nobody get him and feel like fine, let him go to Canada because he gonna lose his fan base, they getting ready to learn a valuable lesson. They ain't running shit. We don't need the media to tell us about football. People play football in various ways now. Some people probably only watch the USFL. I didn't even know the XFL still existed. Then they got video games. Shador's fans are going to be right wherever he is. And see, they think that's hurting him. No, you're setting him free. Just like Justin Fields set himself free getting the hell out of Pittsburgh because he knew Mike Tomlin's power had been snatched. He knew it. He saw it. And now they talking about this is his year to prove it or he got to go. I'm like, Daniel Jones? Hello? And since they wanted to put Daniel Jones behind Anthony Richardson and Anthony Richardson hurt, Daniel Jones better do something. You got to see. You got to give people what they want sometimes. They wanted to put Daniel Jones to make Anthony Richardson uncomfortable and make him compete. Why all the black quarterbacks got to compete? Will Levis don't have to compete? But no, Will Levis is there and being dysfunctional, and they making Cam compete. They making the black quarterbacks compete for their spots. Even coming out the draft with QB1 with the guy that failed. To see if they drafted two quarterbacks in the first round, which who does that? And they're like, well, I don't know which one of y'all gonna start, but let me see y'all compete. There are people who realize Cleveland not gonna give Shedeur a fair shot at QB1. No, we learned that when they wrapped up mandatory camp and they didn't let us see him with first team reps because they know we're gonna be like, that's your quarterback, and that's exactly what happened. He the best one you got. So then they didn't let you see him work out with the first team, and now they putting out stories. Oh, the veterans want somebody else. We cool with that, bro. What they don't understand is he probably cool with it, and his fans, we are cool with it. We are sick of y'all. Set him free. Get that NIL and bypass the NFL. That's what I'm saying. That's why Lenore Sellers' father, I don't know what the hell he been looking at. And I know he probably happy that Cleveland want to take his son, what they pick in the first round. Well, then you ain't paying attention. Because they finna do to your son what they did to Shedeur, what they did to Deshaun Watson, what they did to DTR, what they did to PJ Walker, who's already in Canada, and what they did to Deshaun Kaiser. So just go ahead on and line up for that. That's why he should have took the money in college and stayed in 2 years. Don't be in a hurry to come this way. That's what all of this with Shedeur is exposing. The NFL is a fraud. These players don't have guaranteed contracts. They're using false logic to deny them. They sliding and slipping and sliding all kind of shit into their contracts. 40 players, 39 holding out. The only person who got their contract resolved is who? Travis Hunter. And where the hell did he have to go? To Coach Prime. I will say that every damn day because they try to make it seem like Coach Prime is not relevant and they know he is. That's what it proves. When they make the internet statement about Shedeur Sanders, I assume they mean black, not pocket passer. Yeah, when they said, and that's what I was telling y'all when I was listening to the it's on video somewhere probably one of my playlists. When I said that, I was listening to see if Mel Kiper was being serious when he was justifying why pocket passes are valuable in the NFL because I just knew instantly. I knew instantly what the hell he meant. Quarterbacks, plural, like Shedeur Sanders, now. Quarterbacks, Shedeur Sanders, now. Quarterbacks, plural. They ain't talking about just Shedeur. That's why enough time has passed. You can see what they're doing to all three of them that came in this year. You can look at the NCAA and see who they propping up as the top 15. To tell you they trying to manipulate it coming out of college again. There are people in our comments that have been naming black quarterbacks, Malik Murphy and somebody else at Arkansas, and Malik Murphy at Oregon, and nobody's talking about him. Nobody. That's why Lenore Sellers' father should have taken the damn money. Hey Jackie, how you doing? Hit the like button for me, guys. There's 65 of us. Hit the like button for me. Just take a minute. Y'all typically do a great job for that. Hit the like button for me. It said NCAA and NFL are mad that black players and coaches are starting. One, they making money, and two, their numbers are increasing. Why y'all think they didn't want Herm Edwards? Before Herm Edwards, they didn't want Kevin Sumlin at Texas A&M. See, they don't change. How they go about it is what changes. And that only changes when they get caught. Then they go to something else. Why do you think they try to spin this whole the NFL found guilty of collusion into the NFL wasn't found guilty of collusion? Because they know it's $100 million lawsuit out there. And they don't care about the dollar amount. They don't care about that at all. They don't want the discovery to come out, but they had so much time to manipulate it. They probably don't care about that either. Cause look at how much time they've been getting to get rid of this, get rid of that. I mean, I could just say the computer didn't exist. Cause we know you can't drown the cloud, right? We know you can't shred the cloud, right? You just say, these devices never existed. The person, the public humiliation stunt, which some people say is the boyfriend of the GM, the daughter of the GM for the New York Giants. See, him being her boyfriend challenges every damn thing they told you about where the number came from. Because it could have came directly from the Giants. Because who was out here acting like they was gonna draft Shedeur? The Giants. So of course they had his phone number. What did Shedeur say? I only gave this number to NFL executives, like the GMs that were gonna call him. So if the guy knew to impersonate the GM from the Saints, because Shedeur had maybe given the GM from his Saints number, what other GM had his number? Did Andrew Barry have it? Probably. Did the guy pretend to be from Cleveland? No. The New York Giants. The one team that defamed Shedeur that we knew, because if you follow this podcast enough, y'all like, they are not drafting Shedeur. Who the media was trying to aid and abet and distract you from realizing what the hell Cleveland was getting ready to do to Shedeur. You think the media don't know that the New York Giants have never had a black starting quarterback? Hell, it's the media that started going in when OTAs was happening, and then Jackson Dart showed his true self. So the fact that that young man, the one who actually had on the Ole Miss sweatshirt, who's connected clearly to the New York Giants organization that they don't want you to know about. Why they don't want you to know about that? Because they defamed him. They were never going to draft him, and it will prove that. And they mocked him behind closed doors enough that her boyfriend, where you think he got the number from? Her daddy? Yeah. See that's just one organization. So if I'm out here and I'm a lawyer, I want every goddamn piece of communication they have. What should do? I want all phone records. And I want y'all to know they disconnected the phone after the break and they didn't call nobody else. And then the NFL went to spin it. Oh, Mason Graham got pranked. Not by him. Not by these two. And they disconnected the phone, so that means they got the number. They can go back and get those records. They gonna be there for about 5, 7 years. It's called archiving. So it challenges every single thing they told you about how that public humiliation stunt truly went. And that's why they don't talk about it. Because they don't want you to know what people are starting to catch on to and suspect that that's the GM's daughter's boyfriend from Ole Miss that called Shedeur Sanders and pretended to be somebody from the Saints organization. There is only one family that I can think of that seemed to have some associated with Jackson Dart that's connected to the Saints and the Giants and Ole Miss. See, this starts to cut everything, all the other teams off, and you look right straight ahead at the Giants, who never had a black starting quarterback. Is that why they thought it was okay to try to humiliate Shedeur? Because he's black? That's why they don't want to talk about that. Karma has no expiration date, and neither does the truth. It said, yes, they can't make them and break them. Yeah, they can't do like they used to do in War Moon era in the past. Who said that? BJ. Facts. So, you have people like Chris Carter who people are starting to say he wasn't really that good, right? They starting to see that he's jealous. He had issues with black quarterbacks when he played. Like he suffered and made it so Shadeur's supposed to suffer. But the rumor goes he paid for that gold jacket, right? So they still didn't accept him and he's trying to remain relevant in their eyes. So he chose to go out and trash Shedeur. He chose to sell out a young black man to gain the acceptance of people who don't care about him enough that he got to pay for his jacket, right? And then there's Warren Moon. He's willing to sully his reputation after he know full well what the hell happened. He could see the racism with Kyler Murray in the collusion case, but he can't see it with Shedeur. And then he go on the record and say, no, Shedeur should stay in the NFL and don't worry about Canada. And he is a Hall of Famer in both leagues. What do the NFL think we gonna listen to Warren Moon? Does the NFL not think that we can see through what Warren Moon is trying to remain relevant? Like we didn't know history, like we don't know that he got discriminated against, so that's why he went to Canada. I said that before we got here. So that's why they trotting out Herm Edwards, who got embarrassed because they fired him on the field. They set him up first, fired him on the field, and suddenly Herm Edwards, Chris Carter, and Warren Moon don't have no memory. But you know what? Google is still free. We don't have to know any of them personally to know their stories because it's documented, as is the bias and the discrimination against NFL quarterbacks in their careers during the draft and pre draft. They let the NCAA do what they do on their end, which is probably why Georgia, the conversation is starting to happen about why Georgia don't have never had no black quarterbacks. Why the black quarterbacks that Alabama have had, why their careers went the way they did. Both Jalen's. And where is 5-star Keelan Russell? They stuck him on the back of the depth chart because he threw one interception. Now you know why so many players come from Alabama and Georgia into the NFL. SEC schools don't want black quarterbacks either. Right, because I just I hate that Keelan Russell decided to go there. And they using Ryan Williams for their LGBTQ campaign. I don't know if y'all paying attention. Guys want you to pay attention. I don't even know if he even has come out or that's his affiliation, but I want you to pay attention. I want you to pay attention to Caleb, and I want you to pay attention to Ryan Williams. But I want to see how many white players they gonna hold up as being LGBTQ. Pay attention. Canada sees the drama. Right? Stupid. They like, yeah. I mean, it's just crazy to me. I'm like, mm-mm. It's a, at this point, Shedeur should give them back the 4.5 mil and back his freedom. Right. Because if they cut him, meaning release. Release takes about 24 hours to be off of waivers. Nobody else picks him up for a week or so. He is done with that contract. If he clears waivers, he is done with that contract. And that's what needs to happen. And don't think for 5 seconds that Cleveland is working to this end. Unless they're going to cut him, play stupid, and re sign him for what he's worth. They think this is embarrassing. They think this is humiliating. I told y'all when Justin Fields, when it was announced 5 minutes after free agency began that he escaped to the Giants, the Jets, people were shocked. They just knew he was going to be pigeonholed as QB2. So when he got away, they was like, oh, we could send Shedeur there. And Aaron Rodgers said, what? Well, if you get Shedeur, don't worry about me. So he threw them for a loop. Now they can't even make Shedeur number 2. And now he got domestic violence allegations hanging over his head. And he has decided that this is his last year. I'm sure. Bad ownership in New Orleans, right? Exactly. Like I said, New Orleans is I think New Orleans got to be worse than Cleveland. I didn't think that that was possible, but in terms of see, I don't know how to say this, but I think they still let Manny make the decision on who their quarterbacks are. Um I think the Saints, they want to act like they in another city. See, they act like they don't know who they fans are. Like they don't want who they fans are. You want these people in New Orleans to figure out that you don't want them to be your fan base. They will burn that if I die. Just gonna go put it out there. Just gonna put it out there because I'm like, you tread it real close to let them know we don't want you as fans. That's what you're doing because they wanted Shedeur. The city of New Orleans wanted Shedeur. And technically, they can claim Shedeur after 24 hours and he clears waivers and give him a new contract. The fans and the players want a different quarterback than what they already have. So they can make it right. And he could end up in New Orleans with the contract he's supposed to have. But then that would just be too much like right. And they went through a lot of trouble to do this wrong. To get it wrong. They went through a lot of trouble to get it wrong. But see, now it's backfiring, right? Because the guy that they thought they were making special, he like, oh, hello. He kind of screwing them over. They thought he was just going to sign on the dotted line and they was going to get him, a little 1 year contract, maybe let it. They didn't want him with a guaranteed contract. So they was going to screw him over. So he like, look here. Since you went ahead on and drafted me and y'all didn't want Shador, I'm going to need that guaranteed contract. See, that's karma. Now they got to deal with that. Oh, I think New Orleans might be just as bad as Cleveland. I'm not sure. I have to think about it. I think so because they got the Pelicans in shambles too. So yeah, Warren Moon has several allegations. He had something because he clearly have amnesia. Blue Moon. It said yes. Oh, Priscilla. Yep. So it said, what did Jimmy the Greek say Isaiah? Oh, okay. Isaiah must have said, oh, Isaiah said the Greek, it said Jimmy the Greek prophesied this on live TV. Then they fired him. What? Remember what he told the truth. No, you're going to have to tell us in the comments. It said they're done for not drafting Shadua because Tyler is injury prone. Right. And they thought they was going to get Mr. Injury Prone for a year. And since his contract wasn't guaranteed, they were going to cut it. That's what they was gonna do. See the Saints, the Giants, and the Browns are all trying to play in the Arch Manning sweepstakes, regardless of what the outcome is. The Saints for sure. They want that to be the second coming of his grandfather. I'ma say it one more time. Uh Sarkeesian could have benched Quinn Ewers, who by the way should have taken the $6 million he was offered to stay in college one more year. If they offer you money in college, if they offer you $8 million, if they offer you $6 million to play for 1 or 2 more years in college, take the money. Take the money. All you gotta do is play 12 games or go to a bowl game. You probably ain't gonna even get there. Darian Mitchell was offered $4 million for year one and year two to stay for 2 years, $8 million. They are in the middle of the ACC. They will probably play 12 games, maybe 13. And he got his money. And guess what? If they want to snub him in the draft, he don't care. Because the money he made is more than the first year contract that Shador has. You see? They gonna devalue you anyway. Get the damn money in school before they get you on the ropes, and they don't give you that either. Because that is very possible with this commission. I'm sure it exists for a reason. Get the money. To my queen, I'm sick of I'm sick of Chris Carter. He's a functional. Yeah, I can't believe he has a job as a player development something at FAU. They might need to rethink that. Oh, okay, okay, Isaiah. I'm gonna have to go look it up. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to go look that up. All right, we're gonna get out of here. We made it to 1 hour and 30 minutes. We will be back tomorrow. Turn your notifications on. Turn your notifications on. Cause I don't know if we're gonna start at 12:30 or 2:30. So turn your notifications on, and we just gonna keep it rolling tomorrow. All right. It said if players, Blue Moon said if players invest their money while in college, they can live a comfortable life. Right. Right. And they can still have their identity intact and they don't have to be forced into submission and walk on eggshells and acting out because of how they've been treated while they're in the league. See, they don't realize that a lot of them are acting out, right? You're not gonna tell me what to do. They're going home and take that out on the people that love them. That's exactly what happens. That's not even new, right? All right, everybody. Thank y'all so much. I'm gonna see you later tomorrow. Y'all see Shedeur post. Y'all show him some love. Uh, and y'all know this one internet auntie that's gonna be always 10 toes down. I'd rather see Shedeur Sanders out the league and intact mentally as a human being and get the opportunity to grow his brand in a way that makes God proud instead of him being sacrificed and forced into submission because the NFL is clearly biased against black quarterbacks and they don't care who knows about it because they don't think they're going to be held accountable. They seem to believe that they above reproach. But God, right? All right, y'all. I'm going to see y'all later. See y'all tomorrow. Thanks for watching What She Said Sports. Thank you for watching What She Said Sports. Be sure to join our daily live stream and listen up to What She Said Sports on the go on Spotify. Thank you for watching What She Said Sports. Stay for another video.